The second Advent candle is the candle of love. It is difficult to imagine the love of a father who would send his only son to become human, to struggle with human things, pain, loss, even death, to save us from our sin. From John 15, verses 9 through 12, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My commandment is this: love each other as I have loved you. The Advent candles also represent light shining in the darkness. We can reflect the light and shine the love of Jesus into the hearts around us. Where does your love shine? I think we can shine the love of Jesus into others by connecting with them and sharing his word.
Welcome. Welcome to our second Wednesday of Advent. I'm hoping that this Advent service, it will be special for you. This Advent season will be special as we wait and prepare our hearts and minds for the coming of Jesus Christ. And we are in the middle, sort of in the middle of our talk on laments. And I really do think one of the things that we need to do is one, think about lamenting and working on our laments, but maybe doing it in both individually and communal. So I picture one time, at one time when we can all gather again, that we talk about lamenting, and we actually have a lamenting service where we offer up our sorrows and griefs communally to the Lord. And so what I want to do is to again sort of let's continue on in our discussion of laments. And the first part we talked about is this passionate expression of grief, of sorrow, and it's a deep thing. It's one of those that you feel it in your gut, you feel it in your chest. You can feel your chest constrict. It's harder to breathe, or you can also feel it in your shoulders, and things are just so much heavier than they used to be, and it just sort of weighs you down. And really, I think the problem that we face as people who are going through this deep sense of grief and sorrow is that our society wants you to get over it. Our society wants you to just, come on, get over it. Haven't you been doing that long enough? And maybe even just, it buries it. I know one of the common questions that is often asked to me, and I do the same thing I ask other people, is, how are you doing? And what I usually do is keep walking by, where I'm telling you that, in my actions, it's a nice expression, how are you doing? You're doing. But by my actions, I'm going, I'm not really interested in knowing how you're doing. Or please just give me the Reader's Digest version. Oh, I'm doing fine. And I tell you what, I am the king of I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Oh, thanks for asking. I'm doing fine. Where some days I just truly am not. But from my experience, people just don't really want to know about it. They don't really want to hear about it. So it's one of those questions that we don't really want to know the answer to. And so a true friend, though, will stay there and just sort of stand in your presence and expect an answer from you, and sort of regard your answer and see if there's truth behind it in terms of, are you telling me the truth? And then the second thing is just to listen to and to hear your hurt. And so the nice thing about that is really, I think, and I'll say this a couple of times, I think today, in our lesson here is that just being present is really the key thing. To have someone to share your lament with, I think is so huge. It's so important. And that's why I want to continue to give you the permission to lament, but I also want to give you, the resource. You can always send your lament to me, through email or text. It's okay to be sad. It's all okay to grieve. But we need to sort of work with it too, not to put it aside, not to forget about it, not to bury it. We don't want to do that at all. But we do want to process it and think about it and express ourselves with it. So if you hear someone, they're grieving or there's deep sorrow, be in their presence. That's huge. You don't have to think, a lot of times I even fall in the pit, what am I going to say? That's a trap. You don't have to say anything. I'm going to tell you what my daughter said. My daughter told me as I was starting my chaplaincy career, she goes, Dad, you're going to be terrible at it. Like, what? Thanks for the support. She goes, no, you're a fixer. You love fixing things. And when you were a teacher, you just fixed the problem on your own and dealt with it. Some things can't be fixed. My daughter had cancer when she was 24 years old. I couldn't fix that. And so, it's just you don't have to fix this. You just have to be present in there and let them know that they've been heard. And so you would use your listening skills. You would listen hard without, it takes the pressure off of you if you don't have to come up with a witty, comeback. You just listen, be in their presence. And then make sure that they were heard. So, paraphrase what they were saying. Oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Let me make sure that I understand what you're going through, and then label the things that they said. Pair it back to them so they know that you heard what they said. That's huge. That's huge. They're not looking for a fix. They're just looking for, when I do it, I'm not looking for a fix. I'm looking for someone to just share this grief with me for a while and allow me to have time to process it and work it through. I'll tell you what, this week I did 3 funerals. It's way too many. It's way too many for a pastor. I just didn't know, if I could say no. And but I looked at each situation and each circumstance. Each funeral is different. And I'll tell you, everyone grieves differently. Everyone takes their sorrow and puts, uses it and works with it differently. There is no right or wrong answer in how to do this. There is no timeline that, come on, it's been, such and such, you should be over this already. No, some people will continue to grieve for a long, long time. However, what you need as a true friend is to look for signs that, there's, that they need more help than you can provide, than just a listening ear and just being present. There's people who are professional that can help them. So if they don't seem to process it, they seem to get stuck in this for a long, long, long time and not working with it, then maybe you're going to need to suggest some help, some professional help. All right. So let me talk to you about some of the things that I heard from this week from your congregation who sent me their laments. They talked about not being able to provide activities and experiences for their children, things that they loved, and missed terribly during these times. They talked about a daughter and her family unable to come to Thanksgiving due to the pandemic, and I'm sure that goes for a lot of you who miss family during this Thanksgiving time. What a holiday, great holiday that is, and you weren't able to share it with family. And then, a deeper regret, more community lament about people who don't have enough clothes, enough food, or places to live. And then one talked about a neighbor who had stomach cancer and lamenting that. Boy, when you have something like that, that will hurt you. That will, hurt your heart. It will make you feel sick inside. It will make you feel like you're carrying this burden. Again, just sitting them, being with being a good friend. So I want to continue to offer up, for you to practice lamenting. Gosh, if you have something that you're feeling grief over, or you're feeling deep sorrow, there's 2 ways to do it. To express it. You can express it verbally. You can give me a call on the phone or talk to a friend on the phone or in person, and share those. But you can also write it down. You can start writing, using a notebook and writing down how you're feeling for that day. And of course, you can always, always share your laments with me. All right. So lament is there's 2 parts to a lament. And the first part we're talking about is this deep sorrow, this deep grief. But the second part is expressing hope. And that's also, if you're looking for signs for this person to help them, listen to them. Are they expressing hope? And one of the things that I enjoy about reading lament psalms is that I look for it. And I look for turnaround words, or turning point words, and they usually start with a but or a yet, a but or a yet. And so I talked with Psalm 22, and you've heard Psalm 22. It's Jesus on the cross Jesus on the cross used these same words. Okay, again, this was written, anywhere from 800 to 1,000 years before Jesus Christ came on earth. So my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from helping me from the words of my groaning? Oh God, my God, I cry by day, but you do not answer, and by night, but find no rest. Okay, are these prophetic words? Maybe, but are these words that Jesus, being a Jewish man, knew of? Oh, absolutely, he knew Psalm 22. And was he feeling these words at that time? I have to believe that. He's left on the cross all by himself. His friends left, his disciples left. He's up there all by himself. Can imagine this is what he was feeling. And even he felt his own father leave him. But after those words, it's yet. Verse 3, you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel. Our ancestors trusted, they trusted, and you delivered them. To you they cried and were saved. In you they trusted and were not put to shame. And then it continues. It continues with another lament. And then in verse 9, yet. And so that's what you'll find in Psalm 22. So I urge you to read that if you would. And then Psalm 13 is another one. It says, how long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I bear pain in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all day long? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? And it continues with more of a lament. And then verse 5, but I trust in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountiful with me. And so the second part is expressing hope. And a lot of times you have no reason whatsoever to express this hope, except for past experiences. Yet, God, you took care of me before. And I'm hoping that you take care of me again. But Lord, you've been so faithful to me. And you will be faithful to me again. Even though all this crap is happening to me, you have still faith and hope in the Lord. And so when you write your lament to me, use a yet word, use but. And if that's where you stop, because you can't see any hope afterwards, well, then stop right there. And maybe that will be filled in later on. But maybe if you have past experiences from how God has stepped up and how God has shown himself through another experience or through other people to help you through this time, record that. But I remember back when that you were so faithful. Yet your promises tell me that this will be different. So please continue to write your laments to me. Maybe for those of you who haven't started, write down some things that you're sorrowful for, or not for yourself, but your deep sorrow or deep grief. Write them down in a notebook and be able to express them in that way. But then let's look for a hope, and that will be our main emphasis for the third and fourth Advent Wednesday. We'll talk about what hope is. and why we'll put our trust in this hope. May the peace of the Lord be with you always, and that you have a meaningful Advent service and an Advent season. Peace.